Okay, on this one here, we're doing Photoshop Chapter 2, and this is in the lab, Lab 1, using keyboard shortcuts to create a logo. And so we're going to be focusing on making the image that you see on page number 125. So the first thing I'm going to do here, and just as a quick comment, as you know, I don't always go completely by the directions. It just said I start doing. So I'm going to jump. I've already got this open. Remember, they tell you the first thing to do is go over here and always start by resetting the essentials. Right click here, reset all tools. Okay. And now we're just going to go ahead and start. Step 4 says to set it to 25% magnification. Control 0 is going to put it full size on your screen. 25 would make it a little bit smaller, so I'm not actually doing that. Now make sure your rulers are visible. If your rulers are not visible, you'll be pressing Control R to make your rulers visible. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my cursor into the ruler here. Notice I'm on the Move tool. And I'm going to press and hold the left mouse button down, and I'm going to pull that guide down to 3 1/4. Something to be, and when I say 3 1/4, I'm looking right over here. Okay, something to be aware of as you watch this demo is that my computer is running a little bit slow, so things are running a little bit off. Okay, the next thing it wants us to do is to go ahead and select the kite. So we're going to use the polygonal lasso tool, Shift L for the polygonal lasso tool. That was the magnetic lasso tool because that was the last thing I was using. So I'm going to come over here to the polygonal, and I'm going to go ahead and put a selection around the kite. You can probably see that it's moving a bit slow. Good. So we got a selection around the kite. Now, the book skips an important and rather obvious step, maybe because they think it is so obvious. So let's go ahead and it doesn't tell you to use the magic wand tool here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select the magic wand tool. I'm going to select subtract from selection, and I'm going to click right here. Good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select and grow. Great. Move tool. So now I'm going to take this kite and I'm going to move it so that it's right about here. Now I have snap to guide turned off at the moment, so mine is not going to be snapping to the guide the way that it says in the directions in the book. So now I'm done with that step. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect. The next thing they want us to do is put a selection around the baseball bat here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. I'm assuming you know that you can pause and go back in the video. So if I seem to be going fast, I'm assuming you know how to pause and go back. So now I'm going to go magic wand tool again, select the baseball bat, and I'm actually going to turn back to the picture of in the book. For this part, I'm going to select the move tool. I'm going to move the baseball bat to right about here. And that looks like roughly where it is in the picture. And a little bit more there. Note I'm lining it up with the guide there. So if you have snap the guide turned off, you should be aware of that. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and deselect that one. The next one we're going to do is the ball here. That one's going to be really simple. I'm going to select the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to put an ellipse around that there. Remember, if you want to move that circle, you just hold the space bar as you're making it. I'm going back to the magic wand tool, erase, select, grow, right? Move tool, and I'm moving the ball back to where they want it in the picture, right about here. Great. Okay, Control D. Now comes the point with the airplane here. And the airplane's probably the only one that's the slightest bit tricky on this whole thing. So I'm just going to zoom in on the airplane quite a bit. Okay. So, and again, don't worry about the shadows. I'll show you how to get rid of those later, although you already know that I'm going to use the brush tool and just paint over them with white, because with a white background, that's the easiest way of getting rid of them. In the next chapter, we'll actually go a little bit more detailed on that. Okay, now, here's the thing. The book here tells you to use the magnetic lasso tool. What it doesn't tell you is you're actually going to have to click the magnetic lasso tool just like you did the polygonal at certain points to get the sharp turns. So I'm just going to start right here on a big flat area, and I clicked once. Okay, I'm drawing that line. You can see the line. Now there's a sharp turn right there. I'm going to click there. I'm coming around here. I kind of want it to stick there, so I'm going to click there. I'm going to click there. I'm coming all the way out to the nose of this airplane, and I'm going to click on the tip of the nose. Now I'm going to click again Coming back to here, again, that's a sharp turn. I'm going to click there. The rest, a lot of this, you can sort of, I'm going to click here, sort of make that turn. Be sure to click on any sharp turn. Otherwise, what it does is it cuts those sharp turns off on you, and it comes out looking crummy. So I'm coming up here, clicking there. I'm clicking here because I'm starting another turn. Definitely in this little pocket here, click here, or it's not going to work at all. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click on that corner right there. I'm coming around here, and I'm going to click right there on the start again, and you see that circle. I'm going to click. Good. Okay, so I've got the basic selection here for the airplane made. The problem is this. Now, the next problem is, so again, if you tried to do this by the way the book said, it was a little bit hard. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to next use subtract from selection. We haven't used that with the polygonal lasso tool yet, but I want to get rid of this open area right here. Sorry, not polygonal lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select subtract from selection. I'm going to come to this corner right here. I'm going to click. I'm going to come to this corner. I'm going to click. I'm going to come here, click, here, click, here, click, there, click, everywhere, click, 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 click. Come down to here, to that corner. I'm going to click. I'm going to click in this corner. Then I'm just going to bring those two corners together. Great. And we see the minus. We've of a circle. We've now finished our selection there. We want to do the same thing on this side of the propeller. So I'm going to click here. Go into that pocket right there. I'm going to hit click. Go to that line right there. I'm going to click. Go to there, click, there, click. And eventually I'll see that circle telling me the ends are connected. Good. Okay, at this point, the airplane is selected using the magnetic lasso tool. Like I said, the point they left out was on the sharp points. You still need to click using the magnetic lasso tool. Control 0. Letter V for move. And we're going to move the airplane to where we see it in the diagram here. Again, mine's being a little bit slow, and you can see that. So now you can see in there. You can see the color in and like you're supposed to be able to. Notice in front of the prop. Good. Now I'm going to put that where I see it in the picture. Release. Good. Control D. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is the tennis racket here. I again want to zoom in on that just so you guys see what I'm doing here. My way of zooming in on stuff doesn't work when the computer's being this slow because eventually it will start reacting to what I just did. There it goes, finally. I clicked, now I wait. I clicked, now I wait. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the regular lasso tool here. I'm going to put a selection around the escape. Okay, Control D. I'll just tell you what happened is because this thing is being so slow. I've got to move my hand a lot slower. Good. Done. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and use the magic wand tool. The trick here is to deselect contiguous. That's the only trick. And now I'm going to click right here. Good. Tennis racket selected. Control 0. V for move. Now I'm just going to remember to make sure the cursor is over some part of the tennis racket. The handle is the easiest to hit when you're doing that. Press and hold the left mouse button down, of course, to move. I'm going to drag the tennis racket to right about here. Nicely line up with everything else, and Control D. And now we got the tennis racket. Now, remember I told you we're just going to now crop and resize all of this stuff. So the next tool I'm going to use is the crop tool. Just come over, make sure unconstrained is checked. It's going to be easier if it is. Because so I'm going to come back over to here. Come to here. Come on. And a lot of that probably won't be happening on yours. Again, that's just because things are working so slowly. I'm going to click on the check mark right here. Good. Control 0. We still got some of these shadows here that we're going to get rid of. So I'm going to come over here and select the brush tool. We could have also pressed the letter B for brush. Now I want white over black. So I'm going to press the letter X on my keyboard. I could have also clicked on this tool right here. It really doesn't matter. I want that circle to be larger. I'm going to press the square bracket key furthest from the letter P. And now I'm simply going to paint over all of this stuff. Come on. It's kind of hard to do a demo when your computer's being this slow. Okay, good. And this stuff right here. Okay, Control Z. Looks like I need to go up in the history tool. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to come over to here. Get rid of that. Assuming I can. Come on. Okay, good. Okay, at this point, we've got this one here done. So I can go ahead and close History Tool. You'll notice that it's already less than 6 inches wide. So we don't even need to resize it. We're just going to come up here and press Control S to save. So we saved. And now we're going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG file. Save as. And so I'm not actually in 3D at the moment. I'm in a different class. So I'm just going to click right up here. And I'm going to come over here to I am in 4B. And we'll save it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and name that Edited. And I'll change that to a JPEG. Save. Okay. And you're ready to turn it in. That was all there was to this one.